We just released our 2021 Nouveau, which is the perfect kickoff to the holiday season. So for this year's Thanksgiving Hacienda at Home, we're inspired by the traditional cuisine of Ischia, which is an island off the coast of Naples, and they're famous for their roast rabbit. So today we're gonna make a really rustic Thanksgiving dinner. We'll roast a rabbit, make a sauce, a pasta sauce out of all those delicious juices, fry up some potatoes, and make a nice fresh salad to go alongside. The first thing we're going to do is get our potatoes cooking. We're going to boil them first, and then we'll roast them in the oven later, so they'll get cooked twice. So once they're boiled, we'll just set them aside. But we'll get the potatoes in the pot, fill them with cold water and a bunch of salt. Now we can focus on our rabbit. So I have one full rabbit here that's been broken down into 8 pieces, and you can have your butcher do that for you. And I've seasoned it up just with salt and pepper. So now we will brown it to develop color and flavor, and while the rabbit's browning, we can work on our mirepoix. So to brown the rabbit, we're gonna put a few gloves of olive oil in here, and we'll put these in. So as this is browning, we can cut up our aromatics. We'll just keep an eye on this. We're gonna dice half an onion, 1 carrot, and 1 stalk of celery. We'll also cut in half a head of garlic. We're gonna use the whole thing. Alright, give it a look. This is looking good. It's a nice color, so we'll flip them over. Now we can check our potatoes. They've been simmering for about 25 minutes. We want them to be tender, but not falling apart, because we're gonna cook them again. So we can just puncture it with a knife. Good, there's a little bit of pushback in the middle. Okay, so we have our mirepoix, our carrot, celery, onion, our garlic. We'll add 2 bay leaves. We have a little tomato paste, and then a bunch of thyme. We're gonna use like 10 sprigs of thyme. And that'll complete our aromatics plus some white wine. But let's check out our rabbit. It sounds like it might be done. Okay, these look good. So now we can saute our vegetables. We'll add a little bit more olive oil. In the end, we'll probably use about a half a cup of oil in total. So I've turned the flame down a little bit so we can sweat these and get all the delicious fond off the bottom. We'll season this with some salt and let this cook until it's tender. We also need about a cup to a cup and a half of cherry tomatoes. So I'm just gonna take the tops off and cut them in half. Now that the mirepoix is almost tender, I'm gonna add some garlic in here to brown, just cut side down. We'll end up throwing the whole thing in with our rabbit as it cooks. I'm gonna add about 2 teaspoons of tomato paste, and then a pinch of chili flake. So last thing we're gonna add is 3/4 of a cup of wine, white wine, and that will deglaze the whole pan. Okay, this is simmered for a few minutes, so now we're gonna add all this deliciousness to our rabbit. Get this all in. Okay, now we can tuck in all the other aromatics. We have our bay leaf, the thyme, and then our halved tomatoes. Now we can get this in the oven. I have a 400-degree oven going, and we'll check it at about 35 minutes. The middle of the rabbit, the saddle, will probably be done before the legs and the arms. Okay, now we can smash our potatoes. We're just going to smash them a little bit with the palm of our hand. Now we can drizzle these with olive oil, salt, and pepper and get them into the oven to crisp up. Peek on our rabbit. And then get water going for the pasta. So now we can think about our salad. I'm gonna start with making the vinaigrette. I'm gonna dice up a shallot and add some cherry vinegar, red wine vinegar, and olive oil. I'm gonna add 2 pinches of salt, our vinegar, and then we'll just leave that aside to macerate and add the olive oil in a bit. And now we can start prepping the persimmons, pomegranates, fennel, and celery. So the easiest way to get the seeds out of a pomegranate are to cut it in half across the equator. Now we have a bowl of water and a wooden spoon, and we're going to whack the back of this with the spoon, and then everything will go into the water, and that'll prevent juice from flying everywhere. The other perk of the water here is that you can then filter out, scoop out all the floaty bits. Everything you don't want will float. So I just drained off the water, and here are our pomegranate seeds. Now I'm gonna peel the fuyu persimmons. I'm gonna finish our vinaigrette by just adding some olive oil. And then lastly, we'll slice some celery and shave some fennel. I like having raw, crunchy vegetables when you're having such a rich, big meal. You can put the fennel in a bowl of ice water, and that'll keep it crunchy and prevent it from oxidizing. So now our salad is all ready to go. We can check our rabbit. Smells amazing. And you can see the tomatoes have kind of juiced out a bit. So now I want to go through and just remove the saddle pieces. That's anything that's not a shoulder or a leg, because those will cook quicker. So just fish those out. So we're gonna let the shoulders and legs cook a little bit longer, and the juice will start reducing, and then that'll be the base of our pasta sauce. But we'll probably check this in about 5 to 8 minutes. We can check our rabbit. I think it's probably done. Looks amazing. Oh. Yeah. Now I'm gonna try this sauce for seasoning. It's really good. I love reduced white wine. Such a good flavor. And now we can check for doneness just by flipping over one of the legs, and you can cut into it and make sure it's fully cooked, which this one is. And then the shoulder, you just want to give it a little bend, and if there's not much resistance, that means it's nice. So these are great. I'm gonna transfer this other rabbit over just to make it easy to get some of this sauce out for the pasta. Now we can transfer all this rabbit back into the rest of the juice. Okay, now we can set our rabbit aside and start cooking our pasta. So I'll get some salt in there, cook the pasta. Okay, so while our pasta is cooking, I'm gonna flip our potatoes. They've gotten, you want them nice and golden brown, and then finish them on the other side. Ooh. Okay, our pasta is just about done. It's still pretty al dente. Get some water over there and we'll finish it in the sauce. Give this a toss, see how we're doing? Looks so good. A little bit more water in there and then sprinkle in some Parmesan. All right, let's taste a noodle. Yum. Kind of want to add a little bit more olive oil. Okay, it's looking nice and glossy. Since the sauce is sticking to the noodle. So delicious. The wine and the vegetables and a little bit of that meat flavor. So good. So we can plate that. Yum. Okay, now we can pull out the potatoes, which have some good color on them. And then I'm going to quickly fry off some sage to scatter on top. Just have a pan with some oil. Season those with salt. So we can plate all these potatoes. These will be really delicious with the rabbit. Soak up more of that juice. And I will scatter a little bit of the sage oil on top. Yum. Now we can bring together our salad. I'm going to add the celery, the persimmon, add this shaved fennel, which is nice and crunchy. And I'm going to add about half of the walnuts. And we can spoon on some dressing. And we can just give it a toss and taste. Yum. Acidic and bright. Now we can add back in the rest of our walnuts and the pomegranate seeds. Okay, now that our rabbit has cooled, I'm going to sprinkle it with some parsley. And we could give it a little taste. So tender, so flavorful. It's delicious.